Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast, where we create conversation and community among real people about everyday issues. This is a place for you to hear truth, connect with others, and find answers to your questions. Here's your host, Alan Reed.
Hey everyone, welcome to Real Talk. We have the whole team back to wrap up our series on less chaos. James, welcome back from quarantine.
It's good to be back.
How was it? You look like you were having fun. That's why I'm asking.
No, I was not having fun at all. It was awful.
Was it?
It was awful. I hate being at home alone.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about COVID.
Oh, I hated that too, but that lasted like a day.
Wow. Okay. Well, good. So yeah, the day that we saw you, we were having a meeting about this, Real Talk, and you were I think you were on medication.
I might have been.
You were bebopping around.
For all you know, I'm still on medication.
Hey, bebopping.
I used it again.
You did.
It is.
I'm proud of you.
Coming back.
You're welcome, guys. Well, today we're going to be talking about finances, and the whole topic is really on just chaos and how can we live life differently, create margin in our life, and all those things so we're not living stressed out all the time. And of course, finances has to be a part of that conversation.
Always.
And, so to kick us off, here's a question for you. What is the silliest or the dumbest or the most embarrassing thing that you have ever spent your money on?
Oh, man.
And we didn't
Whoa.
prep. We didn't
I didn't
prep the
think-
team for
we
this.
did not prep
It's
that.
not
Yeah.
in my handout.
Yes.
It's not. It's not.
It is not.
It is not on the show notes.
Well, since you guys hadn't had time to prepare, and James gave me this
Yeah,
because
please give us some.
Wow.
because I'm the host,
Yeah.
I get it.
Scroll back through my Amazon purchases.
Yeah.
Because we live in the land of Oz, Northwest Arkansas.
That's Kansas.
With no
Ozarks.
No, this is
Oh,
the land of Oz. This is Oz Trails. I bought a mountain bike over COVID, and I'm too embarrassed to tell you how much I spent on that mountain bike. So embarrassing how much money I spent on it, but the best money I have ever
So is it embarrassing
spent.
because of how much
Maybe
you
not
spent
ever.
on it?
Maybe not ever, but yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's not really an embarrassing purchase, though.
Oh yeah.
He's had
If
some
you knew how
embarrassing
much-
moments on that
is
purchase.
true. There have been some
I have.
embarrassing moments that
Yeah.
we've seen on social media.
No medical bills yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
For,
But you've done an endo, haven't you? On it?
oh yeah, I've gone over the handlebars twice. The worst thing I did was I ran into a tree, and I felt that for literally 3 months.
My friend Kyle we send each other like fail videos where people just have stupid accidents. And
Oh, yeah.
a lot of them are mountain biking.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just wondering if maybe someday we're going to see one of your videos. being sent back and
Absolutely,
forth between us.
absolutely.
It's my favorite when you hear the like thud of the head hitting like the tree or the concrete. And you're like,
Yikes.
There
how
was
are
a
they
thud.
alive?
There
How are
was-
they alive?
There was a thud to be hitting the tree. So thank goodness it was not my head as you suggest it could be, but it hurt. But enough about me. That was my embarrassing purchase, and it is embarrassing. And so
Well, I purchased a tube of blue lipstick. There was a very, very short window when blue lipstick was in style.
really,
Yes, the actual worst part.
I don't believe you one bit.
No, it was. There was a whole
your lips were
line.
blue?
1980?
No, recently, since I've been out of college, which was just
Was it
a
after
few
that
years
episode
ago.
of Friends where Joey had blue lipstick on?
No. Listen, that's not
Japanese-
even the
the
worst
Japanese
part.
commercial?
I went into Ulta and I am very normal with makeup, but I was like, I'm going to get some blue lipstick. So I'm searching for blue lipstick. And if you've ever shopped in Ulta, the signs don't really line up with the products properly. It's actually, I need to go in and tell them that. And so I can just reorganize. Maybe they'll hire me to do that. But anyway, so I'm over there testing out these shades of blue lipstick to see which one's most flattering on me, which it's blue lipstick. So I've got it and it's like all over my fingers. I'm like, this one is not coming off. I've like dyed my lips. And so this girl comes over and she's like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to find, an in-style blue lipstick. And she's like, well, what you currently are wearing is eyeshadow. And it is the
You're gonna make me
pigmented.
COVID cough.
So it is like stained my lips, stained my fingertips. I can't touch my
That's
face. I can't touch anything.
that is
So
best
Eyeshadow
story.
on your lips.
How long did it last?
It was on for a very long time,
I
Alan.
bet you gasoline would help get it on.
I got what I needed. She did. There was one blue lipstick, so it didn't matter if it was flattering or not. I bought it and I left, and I did not return for quite some time.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
That's really
a
really
great
embarrassing.
story.
It was very fun, and I'm glad that I have it forever.
She like killed two birds with one stone. She not only gave it like a. We're going to put this into the category of dumb purchase.
Yeah.
No,
But it was like one of the most
It's gonna
embarrassing
come in
moments of our
handy.
life. So,
if I ever need to fake that I'm very cold,
There
I
you
have
go.
blue lipstick.
oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That was thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That was good.
Well, mine's not as dumb as that.
I hope yours is also a lipstick.
I think Allie wins. I mean,
Alex,
I mean,
hands down.
not that it's a competition.
Mine's kind of sad.
It's always a competition.
but
always a
it's
competition.
it's not like the worst purchase someone can make because you're investing in yourself.
We'll be the judge of that, David.
I
But
like how he's trying to justify this.
okay,
from the
okay.
get-go.
So I graduated high school, right?
Good job.
And I
Did you?
decided I was going to go to college.
Oh no.
College was the worst purchase I've ever made in my entire life
that is
Tell everyone your
because
major.
I'm still paying for it now.
Yeah, tell everybody your major.
So I wanted to be a business major. I went to the University of Arkansas, one of the best business schools in the nation. And I got like 3 classes in and decided I hated business. I hated it. So I decided I'm going to change. I like history. It's fun. I liked it in school. Might as well major in it, you know?
Might as well.
That was a terrible mistake.
5 years later.
Yeah. I
5
graduated.
is generous,
I
Alan.
graduated in 2014, and I'm still paying for college 8 years later.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
I felt like this would be a good segue, but
Yeah. Way to bring us down.
Wow.
I know.
Can we go
It
back to
actually
Allie?
but
is a
here-
good one.
but I would not trade the friendships and relationships that I made in college for anything.
Look,
So
he's
there's
trying
like
to
there's a trade off there.
He's trying to spin it back to the
But
positive.
the dumb thing about purchasing it or paying for it was getting a history degree. So if you're out there listening,
And you're a
please,
history major. Just stop.
please do not
don't.
get a history major. You will never use it.
Unless you go
No,
on to
no.
Jeopardy, maybe.
There's no unless, because once you get out of
You could
out
have
of
become
college,
Indiana
you don't
Jones.
remember anything. You don't remember anything.
You could
That's
have become
true.
Indiana Jones. You could have been Davy Jones.
That's the C,
Those
isn't
are-
it? The
You're
locker.
right.
He has a locker under C or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a locket.
I fall for
It's like a little necklace.
Davy Jones locket.
Davy Jones locket. Oh wow, we've lost it. So I fall prey to the Facebook ad videos often. And so I will sometimes just see a product and I'm like, oh, I want that. Like I don't know why I want that. And so I bought a weed puller,
A what?
a weed puller.
Okay.
And you're watching the video and like, this is a really cool thing. And a friend of mine had also bought one and I was like, that's kind of nice. You like stick it in the ground, you stand on it and it pulls the weed up, right? So I go to the website and it's a terrible website because it's like, please steal my money.com or something stupid like that. And so I ordered this thing and I'm like, okay, cool. And then it comes in the mail and I, number one, forgot I ordered it. Number two, what came in the mail was nothing like what the picture was on the website. So I'm looking at this thing on the website that's like, 3 feet long and you stand on it and it's got little hooks and everything. And what comes in the mail is this thing that's like a forked screwdriver.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not at all the same thing. And I've never, since I forgot I ordered it, right? I'm just standing there looking at it going, why do I have this? Why did this come in the mail to my name? And I didn't understand why I got it. And so I literally posted it on Facebook. I was like, does anyone know what this is? Because I didn't have a clue what I was holding in my hands.
The
And
size of this object may appear larger.
right.
on
And so
our
I
ads.
literally posted
Or
it.
exceptionally small.
One completely different look. I mean, the thing I had was like a long pogo stick looking thing, and this was a curved screwdriver with forks.
Oh, man.
So I posted it to social media and asked everybody, I'm like, hey, Facebook world, what is this thing? It came in the mail and I have no idea what it is. And after all kinds of crazy, stupid responses, I get, that's a weed puller. Oh, the thing I ordered, but that wasn't even it. So I responded to the company and said, hey, what you have pictured and what I got in the mail are not the same thing. And they said, oh, yeah, you clicked on the link under the picture, not the link in the picture. Oh, whatever.
Maybe you
So-
got the travel size.
I think their communication department probably Could learn something from
Yeah,
Molly.
probably about.
Or they did it on purpose.
False advertising.
Yeah.
So
Or they did it on purpose.
they were like, "Well, we'll gladly take it back and refund you your money, but you have to pay $20 for shipping." I'm like, "I only paid $10 for the thing." So yeah, I still have it today.
Well, do you have weeds?
No,
Good. It works.
but that's because I used to spray and kill them.
Oh,
that way.
well.
Man, crazy. As we are diving into this topic on finances and the stress of it all, what is it exactly that stresses you out about finances? Like, what's your struggle financially? Is it making silly purchases? Well, I pointed at James, but I have to look at Allie too.
Yeah.
Blue lipstick.
She had the
It
eyeliner
was an
lipstick.
investment. I still own it.
Yeah,
I still own the weed puller.
And I will gladly rent it to anyone.
I mean, I still have my purchase. It will be with me forever.
yeah.
I think it's more so I don't, regardless of my story, I don't really make ridiculous purchases often. And it's not even that I spend money often. I'm very strict with my money. Most everything I own, I could probably tell you the price I paid for it because I'm really excited to find a sale. I get more stressed when it comes to finances thinking about paying off debt, student loans. Everybody has them. Not everybody has them. When you have them, you feel like you are the only person in the world.
Right.
But the thought of taking on more debt as I age is very terrifying to me. So Michael and I do not have children yet. One day we would love to. We would also love to have a home, and we would love to have cars that are paid off and student loans that are paid off. And none of those things get cheaper in time. And so I think that's, to me, the most terrifying thought that causes stress in terms of finances.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I know 3 out of the 4 of us have student loan debt.
Yep.
Or for me, it's for Ashley with her master's degree. But
Oh, sure. Blame it on your wife.
it's her fault.
Blame it on your wife.
She's so intelligent.
I was wise enough to let my parents pay for mine when I was younger. So
It was kind of you.
My parents looked at me and said,
You're on your
good
own.
luck,
Right.
bud.
right.
This will
Some
teach
of us
you.
that were spoiled. Yes.
I resemble that remark. So
Resemble?
resemble. I said that on purpose.
Oh, okay.
I was the youngest. Of course, I was spoiled.
Yes.
It's no
The baby
question if
life.
I was the baby.
I understand.
It's just
David
what
gets
happens.
it.
No, I don't.
Well, so what stresses you about finances is such a loaded question, right? Because everybody is going to say, "Oh, I don't make enough money," or "Things are too expensive," or inflation, or just welcome to the world, you know. And it's always funny to me, being seasoned, as we've said, like looking back at when I was younger, thinking, "Man, I can't wait to just be out of the house and be an adult and be on my own." And it's like,
Regrets.
I really wish I would have stayed at home longer and been much smarter when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, and I just didn't. So we, in preparation for today, we kind of looked at some information from the Federal Reserve. And what do you suppose? Did you guys look at it?
Yes,
I glanced
but
at
I've
it.
slept since then.
Okay, cool.
I did not.
So
Good
if
job,
you were-
David.
if you were going to guess, this is 2019 data. What do you think the average debt is? I'm going to talk to you guys because you guys are in the first age group. What do you think the average debt is of people less than 35 in thousands of dollars? Now, keep in mind, this is like your car loans, student loans,
So everything
any credit card you
combined.
might have, a house loan if you're old, if you have a house. I mean, like, what do you think the average debt is for somebody under the age of 35 in 2019?
I'd say like 60, 70.
That's exactly what I'd say. 60,000 is where I feel like is a good medium.
102,000.
Well, that's more accurate.
Yeah.
Yep,
Cuts me
102,000.
deep.
It hurts.
So for people in my age range, it's 189,000.
189.
Yeah, 189,000. Which that sounds like a huge number, right? But
Yes.
if you think about a house payment, or you think about a house and being in debt
Well, I
on a
can't
house,
think about it. It just causes me great fear.
that's
Anxiety.
just a number. And for Alan, let's see, 75 and older.
Zero debt.
Just kidding. So
All
for
retired.
Alan,
That's right. We're paid off.
Alan, your age group is actually less in debt than my age group is.
Well, yeah,
177,000.
Yeah.
Gen X.
Smarter, yeah.
Are you Gen X? You're in the
I'm not Gen X. I'm not millennial and I'm not Gen X. I'm in this weird thing in between.
called James.
They call us Zennials because we didn't grow up with technology, but we adapted to it quickly.
Oh,
And that's kind of like the dividing line of people that
Yeah.
struggled to adapt with technology.
I got you.
So yeah, it's just really interesting. So that was the average debt. Now, remember, 189,000 for my people. What do you suppose, for my people,
Yeah.
what do you suppose for those same age ranges is the average income?
Well, it's definitely not for us, 102,000. If it is, I'd
Show me
I might
that job.
cry. I'm gonna cry. I would say 50,000.
What do you think?
Average income for your age group?
For your age group.
For my age group?
For a couple or an
For
individual?
household income for people 35 and under.
So household could be two.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go 80.
Interesting. It's actually right in the middle for you guys. It's 65,000. So
Hey,
yeah,
good work, pal.
65,000
middle.
for people 35 and under. Now that could be singles, married,
Yeah.
whatever. So for my age range, it is, I'm cut off of it, 111,000.
Yeah.
For Alan's age range, it's 145,000.
We're loaded.
Loaded.
I mean, and so when you start thinking about these numbers, right, and you're like, man, money is just money, and it's just something that stresses people out. The reality is we're all kind of like living at this point where we're living at our means or above our means. That's kind of what the numbers show from the Fed whenever they're talking about things, and you don't even want to get started about how much money people have in the bank. It's really, really sad. The numbers, I guess I can pull that up here really quick, but the assets, like how much money does the average family in 2019 have? Now this is the value of your car, the value of your home, the value of all that stuff.
It's like 35 and under.
Yeah, under 35 and under. This is actually a shockingly high number.
Oh,
To
The
me, it's a
value
shockingly high
of
number.
everything, like
Yeah.
all assets,
Yeah.
income, everything.
Mm-hmm.
including tubes of blue lipstick?
Including tubes of blue lipstick.
20,000? I don't know. What were
Wait,
you
is that
gonna say?
including what we said earlier? Like that income?
Yeah, income. This is like this
Income,
isn't
any
This is your
assets.
assets.
Oh.
So assets is what do you
Car
have?
that you own.
I was
We're
gonna say
getting
20.
like a
How did you
financial
go under?
explanation. I was just thinking of car, and majority of people don't own a home at my age.
Right.
So I'm just literally just car.
And probably don't even own the car yet. Probably still paying on the car.
Yes, that's
Right.
kind of what I was thinking. So
I mean, are we including income in this number?
No,
Okay.
this is assets. This isn't
Okay,
like
just
money coming in.
assets.
This is what you would have in a savings account, in
I'd say 40.
retirement accounts, your car value, all that kind of stuff.
Less than 20, I think.
you said it was
100?
shockingly high.
157,000.
What?
How's that work?
What are people buying?
Isn't that amazing? Now that's the assets, right? But
Yeah.
let's talk about what they actually have in the bank.
I'd like to see an itemized list.
Yes.
Well, it's
So
got,
with the
it's got it
IRS.
itemized. We won't go into it. But what do you think? Okay, so let's just now talk about money in the bank. You're not talking about your cars. You're not talking about your payroll. You're talking about how much do you have in savings? How much do you have that is just sitting there that isn't assigned to go to a bill?
This is not a personal question.
No.
All right. Thank you. Amen.
0. No.
Negative zero.
$43.17.
Okay. This one I feel like is going to be low.
Our age range doesn't
What's
say.
the question?
Yeah.
again?
I'm going to
So,
say
Money in
15.
the bank.
15,000.
Money in the bank.
Is that too high?
Not value of your cars, not value of your home, not
Right,
value
so
of your
I'm
retirement
gonna
account.
say
It's
like,
going to be way less.
I was
than
gonna say 10 at the most.
11,000 for
Yeah.
under 35.
Yeah.
So for my group,
Lot
it's
better than
only
what I was at with
28,000.
How much?
How much?
28,000.
Just in savings?
Mm-hmm. Alan's group
Which
is
sounds like a lot of
48,000.
money to me.
How much was it?
48.
48. Wow, you're loaded.
And that's not including retirement, right?
That's not including retirement. So it's like for your age group, it's a number. For my age group, that doubles. Alan's age group, it doubles. So it's kind of crazy how like just these small variances in years can totally change money. And so it just kind of shows like finances are all over the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Finances are all
Yeah.
over the map. And so absolutely finances create a lot of chaos and noise and stress for people because it does. I mean, you know, but what keeps us like when we talk about finances and the stresses, what are the stressors? What creates noise in your finances?
The stock market.
Okay.
I'm
You have
talking about some older-
stocks?
talking about
What are
older
those?
people. And then inflation,
Stonks.
house prices shooting up. So, and I think of younger
Wish I
people,
could
like
worry
for
about
you
those
guys,
things.
it's so.
I worry about the housing market.
My
every day.
kids
Yeah.
are not that much younger than you guys are. They're early 20s, and so it's like, how in the world are they going to be able to afford a home?
Yeah.
We won't.
Right. And then inflation, that's in the news everywhere. So that's the kind of stuff that stresses me out. Is just like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. You can
I'm
see
not
that
old enough to.
recently, especially after COVID, everything has gone up, like groceries,
Yep.
technology, gas. I mean, everything is going up, but income is not. So it's just, that's extremely stressful when it comes to like providing for daily needs, but also how am I supposed to pay off debts if I can't just meet my daily needs too?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's like when inflation goes up 8% and the average American raise is 4%. That's not intended to be a crack on American corporations or American employers. That's literally what employers can afford to do.
Yep.
And so you're already technically for the next year making less than what you made the year before because inflation has gone up so much.
Yeah.
And so
And anyone below 50, we don't remember inflation of the 70s. And, I was just a little kid at that time.
Just barely. Just a little
Wee
peanut.
little- yeah.
It's a little.
you're a little nugget.
A little chicken nugget.
Little chicken nugget. The other thing I think about too that is a stressor is like not wanting to live my life as a slave to money, which is like you would think is a freedom thing. But also in that sense, that means I want to live life. So I want to be able to take a vacation and I don't want to regret it. And I don't think you regret the memories. But then when you look at your bank account, you're like, Branson is very expensive or whatever, So those things.
I like how your qualifier was Branson. Branson is very
I mean,
It's still
of
your
all
money,
the small
yeah.
places that you could go,
All the small
Small
places. Yeah.
That's
It,
music,
like-
Alan. Music.
I understand.
Blink 182, look them up.
Okay.
No, of all the places as you go, Branson's doesn't seem like that big of a place, but it's so expensive to go just there. So everywhere else is going to be
Yeah.
exponentially more expensive.
Yeah.
So
Well, so, Alan mentioned, and Allie, you kind of mentioned something outside of that, but Alan mentioned a lot of things that we don't control. We can't control inflation. We can't control. Alan is literally looking up Blink 182.
yeah, you're welcome.
I am so glad we're back to doing video because people can see that he literally
Alan's
typed
going to be
out
raging in his
yeah.
office the rest of the day.
I want to be in the know.
small things. But Alan mentioned a lot of things that we can't control. We can't control inflation. We can't control the housing market. Are there things that we can control that create noise?
I mean, yes, there's a lot of times where I kind of just went on this binge of canceling subscriptions of things that I don't really need. I like having the ability to have access to anything that I want to watch or any content. And if we want to go back to the stress of noise and content, just watch last week or listen to last week's episode. But things that we can control, definitely those superfluous purchases of subscriptions or like Hulu, Netflix, whatever you want to call it. I'm never giving up my Spotify because I'm a music junkie and I just need music. So
Need that.
Did you give up Hulu?
no, I didn't.
Okay. I was just curious.
I gave up. So one of those subscriptions was like a t-shirt subscription, and I already have a drawer full of random
There's
t-shirts.
you can get a t-shirt
Yeah.
subscription.
So there's one called Arkansas Shirt Club or T-shirt Club, I think. And they
Is that
just
where you get all those Fayetteville shirts?
no, not
No,
Fayetteville.
you can get
but
those
it's-
at Fayetteville.
They're Arkansas themed
That's a slap.
shirts. But I decided that it was time. I already have way too many Arkansas shirts and I needed to get rid of it. And it was like $15 a month. So I was like, okay, there's $15 I can get rid of.
Yeah.
Those things will add up too.
Yeah, it adds up so quick. And there were just other things that you can take out of just random stuff that you don't need. But once again, I'm not giving up Spotify.
Well, you mentioned like
You
all
can
the
take that from my
subscriptions.
dead
We're
hands.
ESPN.
Yeah, or ESPN.
I don't pay for ESPN.
Do you
just
use
borrow
my
someone
account?
else's login.
Do you use my husband's
I
account?
will neither comment or say.
He can't say that out loud. They might come after him.
Yes.
This is public.
And the metaverse will get us.
There was a
Start
time in my
charging
life where I
rent
was
for that?
annoyed at how much cable cost. And I mean, that wasn't that long ago. That was like 6 months ago, right? And so I'm like, why is this so expensive? And then I realized, I'm like, we pay for Disney. We pay for Paramount. We pay for Apple TV. We pay for Netflix. We don't pay for Hulu. And I'm thinking, I'm griping about how much cable costs, but then I'm adding
Adding all
all these other
back.
subscription
You're
services.
paying about the same. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm paying even more. And For those that I know, listen, I know this particular family does. Ricky Epting had a post that said, when is somebody going to smarten up and just bundle all the subscription services, and that's just going to become the new cable?
Yeah.
It's
For real, though.
For real. I mean, because but it annoys me. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? And why have I become complacent?
And you
doing
truly only have a handful of hours to watch
Right.
television. So
Right.
why do you need $300 worth of options?
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. But so there are things that we do that definitely generate and create noise, and that's our fault. And so then whenever we're stressing about money and we're stressing about things, do you budget?
Yes. I have a budget book.
No, I don't. I tried. It doesn't really work out, but mainly it's budgeting is more of like a discipline of just, I don't eat out all the time. I don't do this. I don't budget for those things. I will take them out of my schedule or my life to save money in those areas. But no, I've tried to budget, but I mean, here's the deal. I have an app that kind of does it for me, called Capital. And what it does, it does the rounding up thing of purchases and then puts that money into savings. And so Lauren and I do it as a married couple, and that's how we save money. And we've saved a ton of money, like just doing that.
Just with the roundup.
Because the cool thing is, it's like you're spending money, so you don't see that money anymore because it comes out of your bank account. But it stores away in a savings account. But it's like you're spending money, so you
Plus,
don't
it
have
makes
that money at the end of the
balancing your
month.
checkbook much easier because
That's
everything's an even
true.
dollar amount.
I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, so it's definitely, that's a easy way to budget without budgeting, and it's been really successful for us because we've used that money to go on trips or like give towards missionaries or things like that. It's a really good way to do that. I'm a big advocate of automating your finances, especially when it comes to saving.
Yeah.
I used to be a diehard with checks. I was a check writer. I'm old enough. I'm a check writer. And then
What's a check?
Yeah.
Republic.
And now
Heard of
Czech
it?
Republic.
History
And now
major.
we have a checkbook whenever we have to do things like register for events at church or something. But like we don't.
What?
He's just being savage right
Is
now.
that an alley? Or that's
No.
I'm
He's
talking
not. I
about-
also write checks, though.
I'm talking about like whenever there's a choir event and she has to like write it. Mandria has to write a check for it or something.
Oh, that's fine. Only in church. Still have to use a
Alan,
check.
thank you for sticking up for me for nothing that was for
Yeah, I
me.
kinda
but
thought that.
appreciate
I'd
that.
say it Anyway, moving on. So no, but I used to be that way, and then eventually I kind of adopted. Okay, now I'm going to do it all electronically through bill pay and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. But I'm a hardcore budgeter. I mean, it's just the numbers guy. I mean, I'm a hardcore budgeter, and so but it's important for you to understand where your money's going. And the thing I cringe about, and I almost don't want to ask this question, but I kind of do want to ask the question:
We just won't answer.
do you balance your checkbook? Do you balance your bank account?
No.
I'm horrible at it. Ashley's good at it, but unfortunately, I'm the one overseeing the finances right now.
Yeah, I'm twice a week.
Oh,
I am twice a week.
I don't think
do
I've
it.
ever balanced a checkbook. Now, I will say in elementary school,
Yep,
they taught
teach
us
you.
how to do checkbooks,
Yeah.
and they did checks and
I don't
stuff like
think I
that.
pay attention
And so
to
you
that.
had to balance your checkbook if you were like buying a whatever from. So I learned how to write a check in elementary school, and I think that was the last time I wrote a check.
But also, when we were in school, banking was not the same way.
No, it definitely
Yeah.
was not.
Like, I remember those little stores on the corner in sketchy parts of town. What am I talking about even? Were
You grew
you?
up in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, there were some.
There's no sketchy parts of town here.
There were. 20 years ago, there were a few. They're just
Don't look at me. I grew up in
nothing-
Wisconsin.
I know. I
so-
was like looking for some affirmation.
help.
But you go in and it's like I don't really know. You write a check and you get money. What is that? It's not a bank.
Are you talking about like those check cashing places?
Yes, check cashing places. Why did we have those? What were those for?
I don't know. Aren't those a
cashing
scam?
checks.
Yeah, but can you just do that? I'm not even going to say where I feel like you can do that at because that might be embarrassing for me.
Yeah, like payday loan places. I think that's what
Yes,
you're thinking
that's
about.
like what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the commercials.
Yeah, that's what made me think of it. It's like it's my money and I need it now.
Yes.
JG went
Yeah,
with
those are loans.
877
Yeah.
cash now.
Just like,
Golly.
Does it
Speaking
ever
of
occur?
noise.
Alan looks it up on his
Does
laptop.
it, yeah,
I
Just
am
kidding,
not.
just kidding.
I'm scrolling through.
does it ever occur to anybody that by not keeping track, you're creating stress and noise?
Yes.
Because then you don't know.
Yeah.
But here's the
We're,
deal.
we're pretty good on that, though.
I think everybody feels like disciplines are hard and doing them feels like you're losing control of your life because you're having to do something and you kind of lose the free will of like, I could do something else instead of budgeting but I would much rather do what I want to than budget. And maybe that's just a bad discipline. I mean maybe that's a bad trait, but
you said it.
I feel like you're just explaining exactly what.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial and I don't budget. There
And
you go.
don't balance your.
And my name is
Because-
David Bullard.
Because they do it for you, sort of.
No.
Online, yes, sort of.
I kind of think the same thing, David.
Yeah,
Oh
online
my
banking. Okay, online banking is your balancing checkbook. Because you're not
100%.
having to keep track of when that money comes out. I use debit card for everything. I don't have a credit card. So
What if
that's where
someone charges you the wrong amount or
Okay, I will look
Sue him.
I look at that. I mean, like
Just kidding.
I'm conscious about the amount of money that I should have in my bank account.
Yes.
And then if it's more than that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back and look at the ledger and see what happened here.
So you pay all of your bills on a debit card.
Yep.
You pay your rent and like your utilities on a debit
Yep.
card.
Everything comes out of my bank. We don't have a credit card because one,
Most
it
of ours
scares
is
us.
automated because
It can
I'm
be
never seeing
automated,
it.
but
Yeah.
like it comes out electronically. It doesn't come out off of a
Right.
card.
Right. Yeah.
Since I started doing a budget book, and we actually track each and every expense, then categorize it to see where we've been bad and where we've been very good, mostly bad. That feels more like a balancing of a checkbook
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So
And
that's really
that kind of
nice.
falls into budgeting a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, I am neutral when it comes to Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
Okay. And one of the things that Dave Ramsey says that I agree with is if you don't know where your money's going, if you don't know where your money's being spent, your money is spending itself. And you know, and that's probably a completely terrible paraphrase, but basically like if you don't have control of your money has control of you. And so I agree with that principle that he shares where it's like, you need to know what you're spending money on and you need to keep track of how you're spending money. Now we're with Bank of America. So Bank of America categorizes everything and we can pull up a graph that says you spent this much on living expenses. You spent this much on entertainment. And it's always interesting to see because sometimes they're like gas and they put it in entertainment. I'm like, putting gas in my car
was not
is
fun.
not entertaining at all.
It's very sad,
It's
actually.
very sad. It's very like whenever it's over $100 because I drive a truck, it's very sad. But
Well, maybe you need to downsize your
it's
life.
true. I do. I really downsize.
I feel like you could save some money there.
So, but what I don't like about Dave Ramsey, and I think as all of us as staff, we've had to go through it. It's one of those things that they kind of ask us to do.
You mean we got to go through it?
Yes, we got to go through Dave Ramsey. But I remember going through Dave Ramsey and having some younger staff members that were part of it. And, you know, one thing I don't like about Dave Ramsey is there's this unrealistic thing that he shares all the time about, well, imagine putting this money in an account that earns 18% interest and then look how much money you'd have in 5 years. And he shares it as like this example of if you did this, this is what you would have. And it gives these people false hope of, man, if I can just save this much money and put it in an interest-bearing account that earns 18% interest, and then they go to the bank and realize you're going to
There's
earn
no
like
such thing.
1.2%
Move the, I was
interest.
going to say, move the decimal point there. You
Well,
know, like
his logic is-
1.8%.
I think I've earned 72 cents
I've
out
never
of
heard him
interest,
say
and that's
that.
about it.
Well, his
I'm not saying
logic is that if you're putting it in a credit card, you're paying 18% interest.
yeah.
So rather than paying 18% interest, imagine if you earned 18% interest, but it's false hope
Imagining is literally all I can do.
because you
with
can't
that.
earn 18% interest on it.
Oh my goodness! There's
know,
no place you can earn 18%.
Right. Not
interest.
at all. Not at all.
Stock
Unless you're like
market?
so loaded that that's
not
just-
even.
Is that
Yeah.
what happens in the stock
Cryptocurrency,
market?
that's where you
Hey,
get it. Bitcoin is the
NFTs,
future.
Yeah,
what are
that's
those?
true. Maybe there are some
I don't know.
places.
So have you ever entered a season or ever had to face a reality where you had to say, you know what, I've got to cut stuff out?
Yeah.
I know you were talking about removing some subscriptions.
Yeah.
Have you ever faced that? And I know like probably Alan and I for sure have faced it because it's just something at some point in your life you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But have you guys ever faced that? And if so, like what, can you explain the situation or can you explain what you did in order to kind of solve it?
So for Lauren and I, so Lauren decided that she was going to go full-time photography, which is self-employment 100%. So if you have a spouse or know somebody who is self-employed, it is very fluctuating every month. So it can get very stressful or it can be just fine depending on the month. And so when we first got married, it was a little stressful because like now all of the financial responsibilities on us. I'm not like splitting rent with a roommate. It's us. And so we had to be smart and we had to cut some things at the beginning and we had to be really smart with how we spent our money. And of course, as business has gotten better for her and as she's grown her business, it's gotten a lot less stressful, but I mean, it's still stressful for her. And, you know, for me, when we don't have as much income from her side of her job coming in that month, we are like, okay, we need to like be smart. We're not going to eat out this whole month. We're going to do, you know, eat at home. The unfortunate thing is now groceries cost just as much as eating out every day. So it's like,
crazy.
Where's the trade-off there? Because it used to be,
Well,
there used to be a
eating out's
little
getting
bigger
expensive
gap.
too. Oh my goodness.
So, and then, but there are things that we said that we aren't cutting out, like tithing, like that's important to us.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to give it a more religious spin is that, you know, when we trusted and knew that, you know, like we're doing our discipline of giving money to the church and giving our 10% in tithing, that we are trusting God to provide for us in those moments of stress. And he always does.
He's faithful, yeah.
Even if it's not like someone randomly gives you $1,000 check, that never really happens. But I mean, sometimes it does, but it really in reality doesn't. You start realizing, you know, your mind starts changing of how you use money, not like you're getting random money coming in. It's more or less you find more importance in things that you're putting your money into. When you are tithing and giving money to the church, your mind kind of changes there. And so the stress of, yes, finances are, especially on self-employment, is very stressful sometimes. But I mean, you look back the past almost 4 years now, is like, I don't think we ever struggled really. It's just kind of like, oh, wow, you know, God has provided not necessarily finances for us, but just a mentality of, okay, this is a smarter purchase or this is a smarter way of spending our money.
And I bet in the moments there were times where you felt like you were struggling.
Oh,
you
yeah.
felt like there was stress.
It was like, we don't have any money.
And it's always, you look back and go,
Yeah, we do.
You know, we were really okay.
Yeah.
It was really fine.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it was difficult, but it was really fine.
I would say, but that's not everybody's story. I know that people go through job losses and stuff, and it's hard to prioritize tithing and prioritize giving to the church or whatever. So there's that stress there, is actually being a good disciplined follower of Christ and doing those disciplines. It's hard when you don't feel like you can even live on that day. So.
Yeah, I remember somebody giving me an advice a long time ago. Always make sure you give to God, right? Like always make sure you give to God. Don't sacrifice that. Trust in that. If you're looking at your bills and going, I can't afford to give to God, you need to cut something else out.
Right.
And that was like, and don't tell me that, I don't want to hear that. But it really was one of those things that, you know, it kind of stuck with me and we kind of learned it, and it's kind of been, okay, let's just make sure. But 2012, 13, somewhere around there. All I remember is gas prices in Kansas City were like over $4 a gallon.
Yeah.
And my wife worked across state lines, and it was like a 45-minute drive through traffic every day, one way. And we both had SUVs. I worked less than a mile from home. She worked 45-minute drive. And basically when we started looking at the math, she was paying more for gasoline to go to work than she was bringing home on her paychecks.
Wow. Yeah.
Like that was terrible. It was a terrible reality for us.
Yikes.
And so we kind of hit one of those times where we're like, okay, we have to make a decision about something to do. You know, we're on video, right? And people can see you standing up. But
Got a leg cramp.
we had
Are you getting stressed out about money?
Finances really stress you out, man. I'm sorry to hear that. But no, we had to face this reality of we're working backwards. We are working backwards financially. And so we just was kind of like, all right, we had cut out cable, we had cut out a lot of stuff, and we were like, we are just struggling church income. I'm like, oh my goodness, we are not cutting it, we are not making it. And so I remember one day I just told my wife, I said, hey, I want you, and we had talked about it. It wasn't like this was a shock, and it was like, hey, I just want you to come to a dealership. A guy at church owned a car dealership. I said, I want you to take a look at a car that they've got. He's got a couple of options for you that we think you'll really like. They're smaller, more economical for this trek you're having to make. And it's funny in hindsight when we tell the story, I just wanted her to look. I wasn't expecting that to be the moment we did anything. And she said she got in her car and knew that was the last time she was getting in it and that she was going to trade it in. And so, again, wasn't at all what we had planned, but it kind of just happened. And we walked away with a different car that day that was much more economical. Within a week, her company said, we don't have enough office space. You're going to work from home.
And she was like, I could have kept my car.
There's part of that, right? That you're like, what? I just did this thing. But it was funny because, I had a completely different mindset about it than she did. She approached it from, this is it. We're making the decision. We're moving ahead. And again, we'd been talking about it. It was like we knew our financial situation was we were struggling. And so we had to make a decision. And I was willing to trade mine in too. And they're like, you're not going to get any better gas mileage in something smaller because you don't drive enough. You're already getting bad gas mileage because you literally just drive in the city to and from work. And so there's no reason to get rid of both of them and deal with all that expense of doing that. So we traded her SUV in, we got her car. That was actually the car we had when we moved here to Arkansas. And within a week, she's working from home. She spent the next couple of years working from home, not spending anything on gas. Our insurance rates dropped on that car because she wasn't driving it. And then a family in our church had some kind of an issue where they basically had, the whole family was down to one car. And they had a daughter that was commuting to college 40 minutes away. And so we said, hey, we've got a car sitting in our garage that we literally don't drive. And so it was just amazing how through that faithfulness of what we knew we needed to do, what we knew we needed to do to continue to be faithful. Because, it's like, oh, we could just cut out tithing. We could just cut out, this and that. And like, well, we'd already cut everything out except for the basic expenses and tithing. So what was left, but through our obedience to what we knew and we felt like God was asking us to do, we did it, and God blessed us greatly for that, And so it was pretty cool just to kind of see God working all that kind of stuff through a moment of what was stressful and struggle turned into a moment of huge blessing, not only for us, but then God allowing us to bless a family.
And I think young couples, all of us, we went through that. You guys are kind of going through that. It's like where you learn the lessons. It's kind of forces you to learn what you didn't learn in school, whether you weren't paying attention or whether you didn't take a finance class, but it really does. Those hardships that become good stories.
Yeah, they do.
And you look back at those things. And I can remember us trying to pare down everything we can to the lowest denominator, just cut all of our expenses. And like, we are down to the bare, we have to pay our water bill. We have, you know what I mean? And we couldn't go any lower. We lived with one car for the first 11 years of our marriage.
Wow.
And so it's just one of those things that we had to do. We were either planting a church or doing something in ministry. And so...
Did you have a bicycle back then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a mountain bike. And so, but so just for you guys, I just want you to say, it'll get better, even though, our financially, with our country and with the world, things look kind of haywire. We've always gone through those fluctuations. You guys will come out and one day you'll look back and it'll be a good memories of challenging times for sure. That's all I had to say on that.
That's all you had to say?
Yeah.
Wow, it was really good, though.
That's encouraging. Thank you, Alan.
One other thing. I do have more.
Yeah.
The reason why I had a leg cramp, by the way, and it goes with the story here, is I was moving my daughter into her first apartment yesterday.
With that ginormous couch.
Everything that we purchased, we had to take up flights of stairs.
Fun.
And so, but like I have of course, this is not helpful for her possibly, but I put together her budget. This is what you can afford, like in every category. And just to set her up.
I wish someone would have done that for me when I moved in my first apartment.
And so trying to help her not to make any big, mistakes with that.
Was that the apartment where you and Jonathan shared a room?
No.
Okay.
I had an apartment in college.
Okay.
But and of course she's just shocked. She's just looking at her early paychecks like, oh my goodness, taxes. This is a killer.
Who's FICA?
FICA. It's taking all your money.
That's right. So, sorry about that. I don't know how that sounded on the other end, but I just ran into my mic. Anyways, good lessons to learn. And you guys are youngsters. You'll make it through.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, one, save money depending on wherever you are financially. Just start saving money. Not that it's going to give you complete comfort in for the future, but it is nice to have a safety net of whatever amount that you have, because things will go wrong. I mean, Dave Ramsey always is big on saving money to the point where you are, not just wasting money by saving it. It's just sitting there and you can't pay your bills kind of thing. But it's always important to save money, because one thing that Lauren and I want to do is to be able to do those things for the church, like have money to like just give a big lump sum to a missionary that needs to go on a mission trip, or be able to help fund a missionary that needs clothes for their school or whatever. Those are things that we desire to do. And if you desire to do something, take action steps to do it. And so financially, if you're really wanting to help out and support the church or whatever it may be, take steps to do it, whether it's small, like $1 a day or $1 a month. I mean, that's not going to be a lot of money, but it's something.
And it puts you in that practice.
And it puts you in the practice of actually starting to save money. Then you start spending less on superfluous things. It's a good practice and a good discipline. There you go, back to those disciplines.
We love it.
To, start saving money and do things that you want to do. Or for us, the nice thing about our savings app is that we can categorize things into certain. So like one of them, we support in Haiti stuff. We have a Haiti savings fund. We have a trip fund where we want to just go on a trip. We have money to do that. We have our, oh crap savings account of like, if something randomly goes wrong, we have money to do that. We have some for our car. So we have all these different things that you can start saving money for. And it's just really good to have just a safety blanket.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't have to be a ton of money, but like I said, it's just nice to have something there.
Yeah. Michael and I also practice. We love a good discipline. 2 things that we practice that have been hard, but really good for us is making a payment above if you can. So when you have that extra income, don't spend it on frivolous things and just or superfluous. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
earlier?
superfluous.
Wow, that degree really did you well. So like spending it on things that are going to help you in the long run. So you'll get out of debt quicker. And so that's something that we've tried to be really solid about. Another thing too, I am not a millennial in the sense that I don't like automatic payments. I prefer the discipline of writing out everything so that I know I've taken responsibility to pay for something. And I know not everybody agrees with me on that because sometimes I cut it close in remembering when it's due. But then that way I know that I've done what I needed to do to get it done. And so that whatever mental trick that has on me or the effect that has on me is really good for me. So
yeah. And I do that for tithing. That's the only thing I don't automate is tithing. Yeah. Just so I know that money is a discipline and you have to do it, and you're taking time out of your day to remember to do it, and really what it is worship. So
I feel convicted that my tithing is
1,000%.
You don't have to be convicted. It's just
feel it.
For something for me, it's just like that is a discipline that I know that if I just put it to automated thing, it won't become a discipline. It's just something I don't even think about.
And I would never give more because I'm not paying attention. Right. And there's a month, Michael's also self-employed. So again, income fluctuates. So, there are times when, maybe what we planned on giving is not available that month. But we still have that discipline of writing it out, and we can say, okay, well now we can give us this much. Or if there is a month where he's done really great in business, we can give over. But if it's on automatic, I don't even think twice about it. Yeah. So that's been good for us, but.
Yeah. Well, and what's great is, we're 4 different people in 4 different stages in life and 4 different places. And what's really good is the reality that different things work for different people.
Yep.
And we all have different areas that there's noise, and we all have different ways that there's noise, and some of it's self-inflicted, some of it's stuff out of our control, but the reality is we've kind of all said it a lot. The one thing we can always return to is we can trust God to be faithful, and we can trust God to kind of do that kind of thing for us. And yeah.
Here's a good quote. I heard from a pastor: God can do more with your 90% than you can do with your 100%.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's good.
That's
100% true.
Years. It's like, you're giving
percentages.
You're giving. I mean, it's all
Math.
his anyways, and you're giving back 10% or more, or whatever you're giving, but he can do more with that leftover 90% than you could do with your whole 100%. And I was like, of course, we were already giving at that time, but it's so true. And God's been faithful to us when we just didn't know how we would make it. Fun stories that we could all share, right? And you guys are kind of in the middle of experiencing that. We're kind of playing catch up on retirement because we were in ministry for so long, not getting paid a whole lot. So that's where our catch up is. Is really like we're 15 years away from retirement, or 20 years.
And the stock market definitely causes me lots of noise when it comes to looking at my retirement.
Yeah.
So
that is stressful.
Very stressful. Well, hopefully, our conversation today has helped you in some way understand that, not everything is in your control. Not everything is something that you can fix, but there are things you can do. And you just have to find what works for you, in order to kind of help relieve that stress and relieve that noise and help calm the chaos, because there are things you are in control of, and there are ways that you can manage.
Yeah. We're done with our show.
Awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Yep, we're done with our show.
That was a good closing, Alan.
You always tell me not
I
to
was
look at
waiting
your
for you to
notes.
do your testimony.
That'll be it,
I did.
folks.
He
I was
did.
talking about.
With Andrea?
This is why,
Yeah.
Was I not
that's why we
listening?
don't have
in the room.
handouts.
Bro.
This is not the way to end a podcast.
No.
All right, we're done.
You guys have a great week. We'll see you.